Hi everyone, welcome to Dr. Chin Biologies, where you can revise biology for Cambridge IGCSE syllabus. Today, we are going to dive into the super cool topics in biology, how stuff move in and out of your cells. We will talk about the movements in and out of the cells. Your body is made of trillions of tiny building blocks called cells. These cells, they are always working, and just like your house, they need food and get rid of rubbish. Cells need to get things in and out. The doors of the cell is called as cell membranes. This cell membrane is like a security gate. It is partially permeable, meaning it will choose which molecule can pass through them easily and which molecule cannot. So there will be three ways how the substance move in and out of cell by diffusion, osmosis, and antitransport. What does this gate look like? It is a double layer structure called as a phospholipid bilayer. As you can see, it has two layers. It is also described as slightly free-flowing molecule. Let us study about the structures of phospholipid molecule. Each phospholipid molecule, they are made of two main parts, a head and two tails. The head contains a phosphate groups which carry negative charge. So it will make them become a polar molecule which can interact with the water, which is also the polar molecule. And this phosphate head, it is hydrophilic, means it is water-loving molecule. For the two tails, they are made from the fatty acids and they are hydrophobic, which refer to the water hating. They are unable to interact with the water molecule. As you can see in these pictures, the inside and outside of the cell consists a lot of watery fluids. The inside contents of the cell, known as intracellular space, it contains cytoplasms. The outside of the cell, known as extracellular space. So since both inside and outside of cell are watery, the hydrophilic heads, which is polar, they will face outwards, interact with the waters. The two tails made from the fatty acids, they are hydrophobic, which is water headings. So they will face inwards to each other, forming a central water heading hydrophobic regions. Other than phospholipid molecule, the cell membranes also consist of embedded proteins. So as you can see, those proteins, they are known as the carrier proteins or channel proteins. They are embedded within the phospholipid bilayers. These proteins will help to transport certain molecules which are unable to pass through the fatty acid tube. Another thing is they will have this cholesterol. This cholesterol molecule, they are present between the phospholipid. The cell membrane is partially permeable. So it means it will select what particles able to pass through them, what particle not able to pass through them. First and foremost, we talk about simple diffusion. Diffusion is the movement of a molecule from a region of high concentrations to a region of low concentrations. So in simple diffusion, a substance will always move down its concentrate gradients, and this process do not require energies and carrier proteins. So in this video, when a drop of orange ink enter the water, so the ink particles will begin to spread out. So they will move randomly from the area of high concentrations to the area of low concentrations until whole solution is being evenly distributed with the orange colors. So molecules are always moving randomly. This is called as the Brownian motions. These random movements will provide the kinetic energy for the diffusions. When a lot of molecules are packed together under high concentrations, so they will bump to each other and then they will spread out to the regions with a very fewer molecule with a low concentrations. So the particle will just move down the concentration gradients, which means they will go from more to less. What are the importance of diffusions of gas and solids? Diffusion is important for us and all living things. It will help the cells to obtain what they need, like the nutrients. For example, the amino acids and glucose, they can move from the intestines with a very high concentrations, get into the blood with a low concentrations. Secondly, it can help to get rid of waste products like carbon dioxide. So waste products, they can move out from the cell by diffusions. Thirdly, it can help to carry out the gas exchange for the respirations. You must always remember that diffusion is very important for gas exchange in both animals and the plants. Let's talk about diffusion in the humans. Imagine that when we breathe in the air, the oxygen will enter from the nostril to the trachea and get into the bronchus and enters to our alveolus. So inside this alveolus, they always have a very high concentration of the oxygen. So the oxygen is able to diffuse from the alveolar airspace with a very high oxygen concentrations into the bloodstreams, into the blood capillaries surrounding the alveolus wall with a very low oxygen concentrations. So for the carbon dioxide, usually in the blood capillary, they will consist of high carbon dioxide concentrations, so they're able to diffuse from the blood capillary with a high carbon dioxide concentrations and get into the alveolar airspace with a very low carbon dioxide concentrations. When the red blood cell inside the blood capillary, they're able to get the oxygen. They will transport the oxygen and get into the target body cell. As you can see, the oxygen diffused from the blood capillary into the body cell to do the cellular alveolar respirations. And then the carbon dioxide diffused out from the body cell into the blood capillary as a waste product produced during the respirations. Next, we talk about diffusions in the plants. And remember that stomata, they plays a very important role in the plant diffusions. It's because in the leaf, the gas will enter and exit through the stomata. So where are the stomata? Stomata are found in this small hole. You can see, right, this is a small hole which is between two gut cells on the lower epidermis. So diffusions will control the movement of the gas and water vapors in and out the leaf through the stomata. During the photosynthesis, it will help in the carbon dioxide uptake. So as the concentrations of the carbon dioxide is higher in the surrounding airspace compared to inside the leaf, so usually the carbon dioxide will diffuse from outside and get into the airspace in the miscible cell by the stomata. So later, carbon dioxide will diffuse from the airspace between the miscible cell and get into the chloroplast of the miscible cell during photosynthesis. Then how about the oxygen? During photosynthesis, oxygen is produced, making the oxygen concentrations is higher inside the cell. It's making the oxygen concentrations become higher inside the airspace between the miscible cell than outside. So the oxygen will diffuse from the airspace inside the miscible cell and get to the outside of the atmosphere. Last but not least, water vapors also diffuse by the stomata pores from the air space between the miscible cell and gets into the outside air. So this is due to the concentrated gradients that cause the water vapors to undergo the simple diffusions to move out of the stomata pores.